support adding the right to an abortion into the Constitution?
100%. 100%. In fact, I personally believe that falls under, the right to the pursuit of happiness, personally.
It's not my body, it's not my choice.
I believe human rights should be added to the Constitution just to protect everyone.
It needs to be rewritten. We need a whole new one. Other countries get new constitutions every 10, 20 years. We need a new constitution.
What is the weirdest thing about conservatives?
Honestly, the weirdest thing for me is people trying to check and see what's in my pants, to try and identify my gender and what I am based on what is in my pants. And I am not having what I'm going to affectionately call the genital police sitting at the outside of the restrooms trying to figure out what my gender is just for me to go into the bathroom. Biggest thing, we're not trying to peek and see people. Trust me, ew, ew, ew. We're just trying to use the bathroom.
I don't necessarily will go weird because I have friends on both sides of the spectrum, so I'm more for like accepting everybody.
Okay.
I'm weird as it is.
For a genocide.
Rise up, America, rise up. It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time.
We're going out to the voting dog.
Thank you for your service.
Is that smoke or water? What was that?
The elites versus us, right? And a lot of people don't know that the elites, I can't even say they any skin color gang. Them motherfuckers aliens. They aliens. I don't think they got a skin color. They can't because they've been the same people here the whole time. They never change.
They don't get on social
media.
media.
Stop playing. Walt Disney just froze himself. Said, "Wake him up in the future." Walt Disney right now, and you know it worked because they froze the baby 30 years ago. They just woke that baby up now. And that baby is a regular fucking, you think I'm playing? Nigga, they woke a baby up from 30 years ago right fucking now.
Whoa. Who knows anything about this? I have not heard about this, and I will be doing some research. You know, you hear things like in the last video we had the, I don't even know his name. Is he a president of China? Right, the man in charge of China, talking about people could be living to 150 years. And now when you live to 70, you're still considered a child.
So this shit worked. You think I'm playing? He think I'm playing. Yeah, Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. They woke a baby up. They froze a baby 30 years ago and they woke him up now.
That's
right?
Super baby.
That's super baby. The baby is 30 years old, but it's born at the same time. Stop playing on me. And listen, if you're watching this, a lot of people don't even know this, right? Y'all think that life and death y'all think that death is permanent, but death is not permanent. Death is not even death, right? They understand two things, right? See, back in the land of Kemet, I always talk about the land of Kemet because that's my favorite place, right? Back in the land of Kemet, they used to, in the pyramid, switch bodies, right? But they learned how to make you switch bodies without you knowing it.
Oh, they say he's born in 1994 and he was froze for over 31 years.
So my conspiracy theory is that the reason why all these kids are drinking a whole bunch of milk and why schools give kids milk, first of all, we're not supposed to drink that much milk. But I think that at some point, the cattle industry has gotten so large and there's some type of lobbying or backroom deals that took place where they were like, all right, yo, we got all this extra milk and we need somebody to buy it. So let's come up with studies that determine human people for regular development, they need to drink constant influx of cow milk. That's just, they gotta do it because that's how humans should develop. You gotta drink this cow milk. Let's come out with studies. Let's come out with commercials. Let's come out with all type of stuff to convince people that they need milk. Let's make all the school districts buy milk and we're gonna give these kids milk because somebody just had a surplus of milk because of all the cows and stuff like that were being bred. That's my conspiracy theory. Ain't no way that these kids supposed to go to school every day and drink a damn carton of milk for every day, years and years and years, and we need milk. We need milk?
No.
I don't believe it. I think it is a long-standing conspiracy, and I think it is born by greed, and we have been tricked. We do not need milk to grow as human people, okay?
Instant petrification. It's the same tech used to make artificial stone today, except this happened on a global scale during the mud flood. Fossils aren't dead, they're dormant, and the system doesn't want you near them. Mythology speaks of titans, beings of immense scale who walked before the age of man, because if we remember what we're standing on, we remember what they killed to make room for us. Flood wasn't just about Tartaria, it was about wiping the past completely. It was a mass extinction, not just of people, but of giants, gods, original beings, and organic tech. Everything too big, too ancient, too free, collapsed under the weight of a sound that shook the Earth's bones. Then they buried it, rewrote the map, taught us we evolved from monkeys and that the bones in the ground are prehistoric lizards. No, they were witnesses and they were silenced in stone. And when the resonance wave hit, the energy hit them too. It calcified their cells, turned blood to mineral, flesh to rock, that now we walk on their backs, build cities on their chests, mine stone from their skulls. The Earth's terrain is not just rock and dirt, it's biological ruin. Some hills bleed iron when cracked, like oxidized blood. Some stones release smells, decay, rot, ammonia, when split. That's not geology, that's decomposition. But we're taught to call it natural, to pave over it, to never ask what mountain that used to be. But some of them, they're still here. You can feel them when you touch the rock, and they remember. After the mud flood, the world was empty, cities with no people, buildings with no owners. Infrastructure intact, but lifeless. Then came the orphans, thousands of them, shipped across continents on trains, alone, silent, reassigned. But who were they? Where did they come from? No parents, no records, no past, just children seeded into the ruins. And here's the horror. These weren't just orphans, they were replacements.
That's a huge conspiracy.
This place in Italy called Palazzo Farnese, and it has this hall of maps that leads to a room of maps. And there's this amazing map of Africa, and let's have a quick closer look at one part of it, because there's all these islands that I don't recognize. And it's also got a map of Judea and Italy. We can have a closer look at them too. That one is Judea, and this one, this slightly dark one, is Italy. And they look pretty close. But then there's this world map, and whoa, this gets really interesting. We'll have a close look. There's this island in the Pacific that I don't recognize. The way they portrayed the Amazon is out there. And then there's this island where you expect Atlantis to be. Look at that.
As hard as the parasites tried to remove all traces from the past, remnants of it can still be found everywhere, including its free energy ether harnessing technology. Airships were not the only reason they needed to white out the skies from the photos of our past. If anyone can translate, this is from Russia.
Красиво. Прям фантастика какая-то. Обалдеть. Да правда.
Back in 1994, a woman and her family were camping near the deep woods of Columbia County, Ohio. Around midnight, a long, chilling howl pierced the silence. It was loud enough to wake them, and creepy enough to make them pack up and leave immediately. But before they left, they managed to record the sound.
We were told to ask you about bovine blood.
So here's the deal. People are being taken. They're being abducted. Sperm is taken from the men. Ovum is taken from the women. Sometimes women are groomed. They're taken, they're abducted, and they are impregnated. But it's not a human seed. That seed that's in them begins to grow. And on the 3rd month of pregnancy, right around that time, they're re-abducted, and that hybrid entity is removed, and there's never a trace. That little baby, a little entity, hybrid baby, needs to go into an artificial womb.
Incubate.
Most people don't know this. Bovine blood can be used in a human transfusion. version. They're interchangeable. Cattle mutilations have been going on for decades. They take the parts from the cow. This is conjecture, but it's based on decades of research. They are creating artificial wombs for these hybrid babies to go into. And in our film on this, on cattle mutilations, we actually show in 2024, Japanese were creating artificial wombs. This is the deep end of the pool. Daniel 2:43 says, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. Whose seed are we talking about? And that book of Daniel is sealed up until the time of the end. No more.
The Book of Enoch describes exactly what happened to these giant ancient trees. It describes how these were cut down by the angels to flood the Nephilim. The Nephilim giants reaching 4,500 feet tall. And I believe once these trees were fell, the waters rushed out from below as the waters poured from above. The same can be seen today in the smaller trees. When their roots hit the underground water lines and they're chopped down, they will start gushing water like water fountains. Now imagine that with trees that stretched to the heavens. It says there were about 200 of these trees. And in the many years of looking into this, I would say that's about an accurate number. Perhaps even more. Many are still left to be uncovered, buried right beneath the surface of what we just think are nothing but hills. There was a reason why the Book of Enoch, along with 14 other books, were conveniently removed from today's version of the Bible. It painted a far too accurate picture of the true nature and history of this realm. Question everything, friends. Until next time. Much like most of our history, the laws of nature, the rules we've been taught and drilled into our heads, they are not what they tell us they are. Fossilization and petrification do not take thousands, if not millions of years to... Not only do I think it can happen a lot quicker, but the process we've been told about it is false as well. Just look at this supposed to be impossible petrified mushroom found in Russia recently. Let's look at another couple of examples that shows petrification takes a lot quicker than we've been told. Here is an actual tank which has turned all but to stone, or what looks like a fairly recent work boot petrified and turned to stone as well. And this was a petrified cowboy boot with a petrified foot still in it. I believe this is in some creationist museum somewhere in Utah, perhaps. Point is, they tell us these timelines take millions of years, but we don't know exactly how quickly it can happen. I believe it doesn't take that long at all. As evident in more than a few of these examples, we all came from the earth, and from the earth we all shall return. In the right instances, like a realm-wide flood, burying these massive entities in all that sediment, and leaving behind so many examples of our massive past. They lie about our history and those that inhabit it with us. Of course, they'll lie about the laws of nature and its true timelines. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Talk about Eminem. For years, it's been rumored that he's involved with the occult because of pictures like this, one-eye symbolism like this. Again, we have him from the 90s when he broke out on the scene. Again, one-eye symbolism. Not to mention that he's done the Hollywood dress thing quite a few times like this, as well as here for a music video. But some of the most disturbing clues about his involvement with the occult, I believe, come from a song titled My Darling. Let's read the lyrics. For those who've never heard it, throughout the song he is literally speaking back and forth to an entity. In the hook he claims, "You and me were meant to be together, my darling. If I cannot have you, no one can, you're my darling. I possess your soul, your mind, your heart, and your body." Later on in the song, that same entity is reminding him, "Hey, you remember when you stayed up praying all night that you would do anything for a record deal? Well, I got it for you. Dre signed you, etc. I'm coming for your soul." In his song Goodbye Hollywood, he also mentions selling his soul and he'll never get it back. But by far the weirdest thing I found on the internet is the 2006 clone theory. For those who are unaware, in 2006 there were various rumors all around the internet, media, etc. that he had passed away in a car crash. Eminem would emerge a few years later, rocking a different look. Dark hair, a little bit skinnier, and many people have said that his facial features just don't match up. This next clip I found from an ESPN broadcast might confirm that the rumors are true. Check it out.
Yep. But he's going to join the Saturday night crew with our music intro starting next Saturday night. Ruben, who is helping produce.
I also want you guys to keep in mind that that clip was chopped up. The actual clip literally goes on and on for what seems like forever, to the point where it's a little disturbing. So people can keep saying that it's just art, it's just rap, it's how he expresses himself, but it's no secret that all these celebrities are bowing down to the opposite side.
Eat meat, fish, eggs, fruit, and vegetables. You're not going to eat bread, pasta, rice, tortillas, anything else. If it's not in that short list, water, coffee, or tea are fine. What you find is that people who've been eating a lot of processed foods and excess carbohydrates and fats together, when they switch to eating meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, and fruit, and nothing else, except of course drinking enough water, coffee, no, you're not drinking alcohol, no, you're not drinking milk, what you find is they lose a lot of fat very, very quickly.
Have you gone down the satanic ritual abuse rabbit hole? It is so dark, like literal. There's one in particular that this guy was on the Alondra Markman podcast. Like his whole life is based around him recovering from this. He was born into a satanic family, of which there are many around the world, and that he was groomed from an early age to essentially be a Jeffrey Epstein type of character in a global satanic cult. That is not all satanic, but the Satanists are a part of this sort of bigger network of crime and everything. He was groomed from an early age, every day as a, it's like abused every day as a, groomed to have multiple personalities, and then by the time he was like a preteen, he was engaging in where he would be put in a cage and he would fight to death with him in like downtown New York in underground like parties that rich people and businessmen would attend. After that, he was being groomed to be an actor, and he froze up in his acting interview, and so he got shifted from the acting pathway, because these guys, like, there's a fuckload of money in this community, allegedly, as in it's tied into all of the global trafficking networks. Because how do you think the global trafficking sort of gets all the handlers and gets all of the sort of like operatives that run it? Is you need people that were abused in order to run these things, because you need to be that kind of broken, like you need to be groomed to be able to run this without breaking. He met Jeffrey Epstein on 2 occasions. That he was being groomed to essentially be a handler similar to Jeffrey Epstein. And he had a really lucid description that Jeffrey Epstein was an insanely good code switcher, is what made Jeffrey unique, that he could be completely normal businessman, like banker guy right now, and then like literally turn the other way and be an absolute depraved, abusive monster, and then like right back on like the drop of a pin. And that's what made him so unique in this guy's perspective. And he kind of like had his programming, his like trauma did not work correctly. And so rather than going that route, he became a breeder. And he alleges that he was sent to a compound in Mexico where he would breed with girls all day, every single day, for like 2 or 3 years. And they would just breed and breed and breed and breed. And he alleges that that is because they were particularly interested in him because of his bloodline and his heritage as some sort of direct descendant of King Solomon, is what he says.